Hello again, folks, and a very warm welcome indeed to the Celtic Forever podcast. I am Xander. We've got a lot to go through. The Glasgow Derby, the transfer window, international football, a whole other stuff. Celtic fans not happy with the board. Various other stuff. There's a whole lot to go through. Let's bring in John. How you doing, John?
Aye, all right. Did you enjoy the game on Sunday?
No, it was a very, very poor game. One of the worst Glasgow derbies I think I've watched in a long, long time. It was very, very boring. We would have took the draw, I suppose, because of where we were away from home at Ibrox. We'll take the draw. It's a decent point, I suppose. But the performance from Celtic wasn't great, was it, John? Let's be honest. It was, the Rangers sort of had us pinned in because the referee giving free kicks right, left, and centre for the slight wee thing, which gave Rangers the chance to lob the ball right into our box about 17 times, John. I think they got free kicks. I'd say about 13 of them were for absolutely nothing. But we'll go through all that, John. We'll touch on the Glasgow Derby. What did you think?
Pretty much the same as yourself. It was just a case of what's going to happen next with this referee. That's all I was thinking all through that game. What's he going to give them next for nothing? Because it was just constant free kicks for absolutely nothing. And like you say, it's just lobbed it into the box. That was their game plan. Lob it into the box, hope for the best. Throw-ins, corner kicks, free kicks, constantly getting lobbed into the box. And Celtic couldn't punish that. And I was actually embarrassed, to be honest with you, that Celtic couldn't beat that garbage.
Yeah, it was dreadful, wasn't it, John? It was absolutely dreadful. And the referee just did not give us the chance to get out at all, did he? With the free kicks he was giving them. Anytime he broke up the park, a Rangers player would fall, he would give a free kick, which meant they could lob the ball right back into the box. And as you say, the long throw-ins as well, the corner kicks. They're definitely a long ball team, Rangers, they really are. And the loving from the Scottish press as well, John, because Rangers drew with Celtic at their own home ground was absolutely pathetic. But as I say, we'll get into all that. Let me quickly run through the competitions.
I was going to say that. Get the competition started, Xander. I'll just go and grab a quick drink.
Yeah, go for it, John. And the competition is for this week. There's no, obviously, we're in the middle of an international break. So we're going to do the competition for the Celtic versus Rangers ladies game on Sunday. So we're looking for a guess for that. Correct score guess for that, folks. One guess each into the comments section. Especially everybody that have their entry into the competition, the 25 names there in the big league. Get your entry in for that. One guess each. Glasgow Derby, Celtic versus Rangers on Sunday. We'll get John's and mine a wee bit later on when we do the predictor. But good luck with that, everybody. Getting your guess for the Glasgow Derby ladies on Sunday. Good luck to Celtic in that. And the other thing is John and I's competition between each other. The predictor, John is now 10-1 ahead. You got another one right at the weekend there. I think it was the Falkirk Hibs game. So that makes it 10-1 to John and that. But more importantly, get your guess in for the Glasgow Derby on Sunday because there's no men's football this weekend because of the international break. One guess each, as I've already said. Good luck, everybody, with that. Just one more thing. Just remember, hit that subscribe button as well, folks. Hit the like button as well. That would be very much appreciated. Right, John, are you back?
I'm back.
Right, good, bad. Right, let's get into it then, John. There's quite a wee bit to go through, and we'll start with the transfer window, which slammed shut on Monday night. Very, very poor transfer window for Celtic, John. We had so many players that were linked to Celtic. We got to 11 o'clock at night on Monday night, and only Sebastian had signed, John, the new winger, Sebastian. 5.2 million, I think he signed, maybe a wee bit less, maybe a wee bit more. We're not too sure the exact figure. But I'm going to go through actually every player that's left and every player that's signed in a couple of minutes, John. But I want to get your thoughts on the transfer window. What did you think, John? It was very poor.
Nothing to get the Celtic fans excited, was there? And this Kasper, is it Dolberg? His name is Kasper Dolberg.
Yeah.
That was never going to happen, was it? You just knew that wasn't going to happen. It's when Celtics seem to get linked with these players that goes on forever and ever and ever. It ends up 9 times out of 10 it doesn't happen, and it was the same with that one.
and he's a decent player, John Dolberg. I was actually quite excited at the prospect of him signing for the champions, and it never happened. I was very disappointed in that, John, and we get in the actual and on a free transfer to replace Adam Eder, who left. And let's go through it then, John. Let's go through it right now. Who's came in and who's left. And you can give me your thoughts once I've run through these, John, right? But we'll start with the ins. First, obviously, Kieran came in on a free transfer from Arsenal. We got the goalkeeper, Ross Doohan, on a free from Aberdeen. Callum Osmond, also on a free from Fulham. I think we had to pay a development fee for him, but 50,000 or whatever for Callum Osmond, who's not kicked a ball for us in anger yet. Maybe he's played 5 minutes, I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll move on, John. Nygren we got for £2 million from Notchland. John, we got Nygren and £2 million for him. Inamura, £250,000. Shin Yamada, £1.5 million from Kawasaki. Puzzi on loan from Manchester City. As I say, John, Sebastian, we just got in on Monday night there. He looks like a very good winger, actually. Plays on the right, but can also play on the left as well. But that's an undisclosed fee for him. But we're thinking around about the £5 million for Sebastian. Good luck to him. We got Balak Wisher also in as well, didn't we, John, from Antwerp. He looks decent as well. I thought he'd done okay against the Rangers. Nothing special, mind you, but because the whole team wasn't playing well, but I think he done well against the Rangers. So we've got Balak Wisher in as well. I think he was about £4.5 million. And Marcelo, John, the left back who came on for Kieran, he also done okay when he came on, I thought. He's on loan from Boca Juniors. And I'll quickly run through the ones that have left, John. Scott Bain away to Falkirk, Greg Taylor away to PAOK. Daniel Cummings away to West Ham on a free. Lagerbielke, we've got £2.2 million for him. He's away to Braga. Nicholas Kuhn, £16.5 million to Como. Naroki on loan to Hanover 96. Lewis Palmer, he's also just away on loan to Lech Poznan. Adam Montgomery away to Livingston. Josh Clark away to Partick Thistle. Kwon away to Nantes. Undisclosed fee for Kwon. Marco Tilio away to Rapid Vienna. Adam Ida off to Swansea on Monday night there. And big Stephen Welsh on loan to Motherwell, John. So that's it. When you look at it, there is a bit of quality coming in there, John, and there's not much quality actually left when you look at it. Greg Taylor, yeah, quality. Naroki, yep, quality. Who else? Big Adam Ida. It was quality on and off, John, but apart from that, it's all sort of a, substitute players, reserve players, players that weren't really getting a game for the first team.
Aye. Obviously, the one that angered me most at them all was Greg Taylor being allowed to go, because I thought Greg was fantastic, and I think he would have done a better job than the current form that Kieran Tierney's shown, because Kieran Tierney has been absolute guff right up until this point. He's been guff. I'm not going to mince my words. He's been absolute guff. He's been all right in a couple of the games against the smaller teams, so-called smaller teams, but against Rangers, invisible. Against Kairat Almighty, he was invisible against them as well. So when it comes to these big games, he's not been there. Where is he? Yeah,
there's a fitness issue there with Kieran Tierney. Absolutely 100%, John. As you say, he's not been brilliant. He hasn't. I think he had one good game against Aberdeen. He was decent. But apart from that, he's not really turned up yet, has he? But it is early, John. It is early. I know what you're saying. He's not kicked a ball, really. And he was very poor against Rangers. But who wasn't he? I suppose, John. Everybody was really poor against Rangers. But the transfer window, John, overall, are you happy? Are you upset? The Celtic fans aren't happy, are they? Writing letters to the board. Peter Lawwell leaving us in the lurch. Brendan Rodgers should walk. All this sort of stuff you're hearing. But what's your thoughts, buddy?
I think the fans have got a right to be angry, haven't they? I mean, you're looking at some free transfers that Celtic's put in. It's maybe they don't think they were ready for the Champions League. That's why they never spent the money. Maybe they knew more than we did that Celtic team wasn't going to qualify for the Champions League, because they never looked like qualifying, let's be honest, against Kairat Almaty. They were dreadful. But I think the Celtic fans have got a right to be unhappy with the way the transfer window went. Rangers spent more money. That's how bad it was. In no way should they be spending more money than Celtic. In any way, shape or form. I know they just get took over by the San Francisco 49ers or whatever they're called. But it's bad when you're spending more money than you, Xander. That doesn't look good for Celtic, does it?
No, they're stuck to the promise for their fans by spending the 20 million. I think they've spent over 20 million now, actually, when you take into account the players that have left them and the players that have come in. They've spent over the 20 million. But, that's them, John. That's their business. We want to talk about the champions, John. We didn't get another right back in. That's a concern for me. We didn't get a backup player for Callum McGregor, who, by the way, also hasn't really kicked a ball this season. So no backup for Callum McGregor either, John. We didn't get the extra 2 wingers that we were looking for, did we? We were looking for 2 on the deadline day. We got the 1 winger in Sebastian. We sold Adam Weeder. We brought in the actual John. A wee quick word on him, John. I know you've not really heard of this boy, but I have heard him. And when he played for down in England for Leicester, Man City, he was decent. He was a decent player. He knows where the net is. That's the kind of player we want to be on our books, John. A player that knows where the net is. A player that done well in the English Premier League. But over the last couple of years, he's not really done it, John. So we're just hoping that Iheanacho can find his form very quickly.
Exactly, and it's just a pity that the international breaks came up when it did, because we'd like to get a look at these players. But it gives them a couple of weeks to get ready, get ready with the first team, see how they fare in Brendan Rodgers' eyes. Are they going to be first team starters or whatever? Who's going to get dropped? To make space for these boys. But like you says, I'm disappointed there's no right backs came in, and we're having to make do with Anthony Ralston. Nothing against Anthony Ralston, my feelings on Anthony. I think he's a good solid player. I just think when it comes to especially the bigger games against the Rangers and European teams, I don't think Anthony's going to cut it. He was absolutely 100% targeted on Sunday by the Rangers. Long balls all punted towards Anthony Ralston, and that tells you what other teams thinking.
Yeah, that's it, John. Let's get into the Glasgow Derby then, John, because we've not had a say on the Glasgow Derby yet. I know it was a few days ago, but it's still fresh in the memory. It's definitely still fresh in my memory. An absolutely dire performance by the champions. We can't let this go on anymore, going to Ibrox or them coming to Celtic Park and them getting draws off us, John. It just has to stop. We have to now put the foot down, put them to bed, get the 3 points in the bag, John. I think it was dreadful on Sunday. That's now 4 games in a row with no beat Rangers. And that's poor form, John. It really is very poor. A very dire Rangers team who just lost 9 goals, you've got to remember, to Club Brugge, John. Bruges. An absolute disaster that we didn't score against the Rangers.
Aye, look, they played against Bruges in midweek and got absolutely scalped. That could have been anything Bruges wanted. That could have been 20-0 if Bruges wanted it to be 20-0. Second half, they just wandered about, a warm down, and then they show up against Celtic, and Celtic kind of got their own half. There's something wrong there, Xander.
Yeah, we did say that on the preview that was going to happen, John, and unfortunately we were absolutely bang on. We said they were going to turn up after that, get the result. A lot of people in the comments also said that, to be fair, but no, we knew it was going to happen, John, and it did happen. And let's go through it then, John. Let's go through the game and the wee bits and bobs surrounding the game. The Scottish press, an absolute loving yet again for an absolutely dire performance by both Celtic and Rangers, John. You've got to remember. But the difference is they were at home. You've got to remember they were at Ibrox in front of their screaming fans. They didn't have as much travelling to do. They didn't play the extra time and penalties in their European game either. All these 3 things do add up, but, the Scottish press more or less saying, the Rangers were the better team. Majowski, the best thing since sliced bread. Absolute diving cheat, to be honest with you. They were also saying It's unbelievable. It's just a total love-in, John. It was quite bad. But let's have a wee look at the stats, John. 41% possession to the Rangers to Celtic's 59%. So that tells you everything you need to know there. 3 yellow cards to Celtic's 0 yellow cards. Rangers did have 8 corners to Celtic's 1 corner. So that shows you where most of the action was as well, John. So, but for the Scottish press to go on and on and on, John, as if Rangers had actually beaten Celtic, it's quite poor, and it's something we've just got used to over the years.
They're sitting 7th in the league, and the press still love them, still think they're the best thing ever. Well, just ask St Mirren, Motherwell and Dundee. That's how good they are. Bruges, of course, don't forget them, and struggling against Alloa. But we did say in the pre-match that they would absolutely 100% raise their game against Celtic, and that's exactly what they've done. Look, they're no great shakes. They were the better team on the day. I'm not going to deny that. But at no time did I feel Celtic were in any danger against them. Punting long balls, long throw-ins, corner kicks. That's all their game had. That's all they offered. And that's where they're getting their corner kicks and that from. The referee giving them free kicks. As soon as you breathed near one of the players, they just fell and they get a free kick for it. And I'm sure every Celtic fan was raging. We all seen the same thing. Why is this clown Robertson giving him free kicks for absolutely nothing? Well, we know why. Because it's to test the Celtic defence by punting the ball into the box. And that's where they get all their action from, all their corners and all that stuff. And luckily for us, the boy that scored the goal was marginally offside. And there was no comeback for Celtic if that would have counted, Xander. Absolutely none. We were that bad.
Yeah, we're going to go into the decisions by the referee, John. We were lucky with that offside goal. Very lucky indeed, actually. And I sort of felt for the 2,400 odd Celtic fans in that wee corner, John. They had absolutely nothing to...
100%, Xander, aye, 100%. I felt sorry for them having to sit there and endure that utter dross. That's no befitting of any Celtic team, that performance, Xander. That was abysmal. Yeah,
and it's a state of affairs at Celtic just now, isn't it? The fans, the manager, the boards, all at war with each other just now. It's no great, is it? Even though we're that 6 points clear of the Rangers at the moment, John, it's just as well we've got that gap. And the international break maybe has come at a good time, actually, John, because it gives us a wee bit of a chance to, settle things down, get things back to normal. We've got the European games coming up as well, John. So we need to get everybody settled and prepared for these European fixtures as well. I'll run through them in a couple of minutes after we've done this preview of the Glasgow Derby, John. But Rangers, John, as I said, Scottish press, an absolute total loving. Loved everything about what they've done. Absolutely pathetic, to be perfectly honest with you. Conor Barron, the best midfielder in Scotland. It's pathetic. And then you've got to look at the results as well, John, as you said a minute ago. They've played 4 games in the league. They've not won a game in the league. 4 draws in the league. That's 4 points they've got, as you say. They're sitting 7th in the league. Celtic sitting proudly at the top. But it's all this stupid carry on, John, with the board, the manager, the fans. The board have definitely let us down, though, haven't they?
100%, aye. But look, I just don't think the Scottish press have got anything to get excited about watching that. Did they not watch the Bruges game during the week? I mean, how can they get carried away with an absolute guff team like that after watching what Bruges done to them? Like I say, it could have been a cricket score if they wanted it. They've nothing to get excited about there. Look, Celtic were terrible, we know that. Rangers were equally as bad. All they had was long balls. And if that's me, the team that I support at home, watch them punting long balls into the box, I'd definitely be happier than what Celtic would be, right enough, because they created chances. Celtic created nothing. Did Celtic have a shot on target the whole game?
Yeah, Celtic had 2 shots on target. Rangers had no shots on target. So that also tells you, where they are as a club. Mikey Moore as well, John. There was another one the Scottish press kept going on about. What a player Mikey Moore is. Who is Mikey Moore? Who knows? Who cares? But
Roger Moore's son, innit?
But I mean, that's quite bad, John, the way the Scottish press, the BBC especially, on that BBC Radio Scotland, the way they were going on about it. But let's get into some of the action then for a wee 5 minutes, John. Let's talk about some of the things that happened in this game. As you said, John, the offside goal, yeah, he was offside, but it was never a free kick that led to the ball getting pumped into the box. That was the one where Ralston wins the ball, but he's lying on the ground and it's sort of stuck between his legs for a millisecond. He clears the ball, the referee blows for a free kick. Never a free kick in his life, was it?
I know if you do that when you're on the ground, you keep the ball between your legs, it's automatically a free kick, Xander. So I'd say that maybe, I don't know, it's just the amount of time he held the ball between his legs. It was like it kind of rolled onto one feet and he tried to get rid of it with another foot, and it kind of stuck there, and he's automatically realised that and let it go and get a free kick against him. So I agree with you. I don't think, by the letter of the law, it's considered a free kick, but I don't think there was any intention with Ralston doing that. The ball wasn't between his feet for long enough to give a free kick. I agree with you.
Yeah, you've got to remember Ralston was fouled, John, in the build up to that. That's why he was on the ground. So it was a free kick to... I mean...
I totally agree with you, by the way. I totally agree with you. I think he was on the ground. He was fouled before that. It was a free kick to Celtic, and that Muppets decided, no, that's not a free kick, but that is. And that's how disgusted I am with him.
Yeah, the referee was absolutely dire. And we did say that in the preview also, John, to be wary of this Don Robertson. Absolutely rank rotten referee. He's done this a few times, actually, Don Robertson, to be honest with you. But let's move on. Majowski, the dive in the box with big scales. This guy should have been booked for his dive. An absolutely shocking dive, He's just at the club a few hours, John. He's just at Rangers a few hours. And they were diving all over the park, the Rangers players. It's as if that's what they've actually been told to do. Dive, fall, get the free kicks, get the ball into the box. That's their game plan, John. Fall, get the free kicks and lump the ball into the box. And it worked because of the referee. But the biggest one, obviously, John, was maybe not the biggest, because there's another one I'm going to mention. But the main one was inside the box, Majowski. Just a few hours at the club, big scalesy. Sticks with them, and it just throws yourself to the ground, John. An absolute pathetic piece of play, John, for Majowski to dive like that, and he doesn't even get spoken to.
Well, if you're like me and all the other Celtic fans, I'm shouting at the telly that. I seen it right away. It was a dive. Get him booked. I'm shouting at the telly. I'm sitting there myself, shouting at myself. A bit weird, but there you go. But I'm not shouting at myself. I'm shouting at the telly. It's a yellow card. If you're simulation inside the box, you're cheating. You should be instantly booked for that. Right? I mean, there's no penalty given, and he still wasn't. It's just a dirty scumbag, Xander, dive and cheat.
Yeah, and well done to Big Scales. The video I put on as well, John, after it. And it's, by the way, it's sitting at 250,000 views over on Facebook. I'm not sure what it is on YouTube just now. But the video I put on with all the diving and all the poor decisions, John, well done to Big Liam Scales for calling it out for what it is. Diving, cheating, John. So well done to Big Liam Scales.
Look, he's absolutely right to call that out, because that's what it is. The guy's a cheat. Liam Scales isn't going to come out and say that. He's a cheat. Well, we can say it. He's a cheat. He's tried to con the referee. It's an instant yellow card, and nothing's happened to him. That shows you what we were up against. As soon as I seen that, I'm thinking, look at what we were up against today. That guy's just walked away from that, and that Don Robertson refusing to book these Rangers players for their cheating all over the park. Not just Majowski. Every single one of their team were at it. And they weren't getting penalised for it. And Celtic players doing nothing and getting free kicks against them. What the heck was going on in that game?
Yeah, that's still fresh in the memory. A few days later, John, it was very, very strange, wasn't it? Celtic were not getting the fouls while Rangers were getting the fouls. Very, very strange, and we did get a few free kicks, obviously. We did get some decisions, but they were ones that you had to give, blatant free kicks, because they were going in really heavy, the Rangers players, weren't they? But that's to be expected in a Glasgow derby. But the ones for the diving, John, and the very poor decisions, we'll stick to them just now. The Connor Barron forearm smash, what did you think of that?
Red card. It's a red card all day. He's dragging Daizen Maida's shirt there's a bit of 50-50 there, a wee bit of tugging here and there, but he's dragged Dyson Maeda's shirt, lifted his elbow right into Dyson's face, bust his face open, bust his jaw, whatever happened to Dyson, blood all over the place. Sorry anybody's having a late plate of Weetabix there, but there's blood all over the park, and that wee animal's just walked away for that. A crunching elbow right to Dyson's jaw, and you see the slow motion replay of how the impact actually affected Dyson. That was bad, Santa. That's a red card for me.
Yeah, and the Scottish press have such a loving here, John, with Rangers getting 1 point at Ibrox against a very poor Celtic team. They've got such a loving, they don't mention it. It's not mentioned anywhere. Sky Sports didn't mention it, John. They didn't do it the rerun when they were talking about it after the game. So that's why we're mentioning it, John. It's a stonewall red card for me, and it wasn't even looked at by VAR either.
It's just, I was bamboozled with the officiating the whole day. It's the worst I've ever seen. I've seen bad officiating in derby games, but that's the worst I've ever seen. It was so poor. Perhaps I'll mention one game that was worse, and that was the one Hugh Dallas was hit with the coin. That was the worst officiating I've ever seen in a derby game. But apart from that, the weekend's game is a very close second. Yeah,
very, very poor it was. And Diamond, John, as well. Diamond, the Rangers player Diamond, or Diamondi, whatever you want to call him. Fouls all over the place. Foul here, foul there, foul everywhere. Even Big Chris Sutton had to mention it. And eventually Diamond gets the yellow card. So fair enough, eventually gets a yellow card about 60 odd minutes into the game. But then he has another nasty foul on a Celtic player, John. Another shocking tackle on a Celtic player. No second yellow. No looked at by VAR again, John. So Diamond gets away with one there as well, John. And the main one I wanted to talk about was the Balak-Wisha one, John. The ball bounces, it's through in the goal, right through in the goalkeeper. Doesn't even brush against Tavernier, but Tavernier throws himself to the ground, and the referee gives a free kick, John. This is one perfect example of what we were up against on Sunday there. Ball bounces, Balak-Wisha wins the ball cleanly, nowhere near Tavernier, throws himself to the ground, referee, free kick for him to put the ball right back into the Celtic box, John. That is just the perfect example of what was going on that entire game.
How can it be a free kick if he's got his back to Balak-Wisha for a start?
Yeah.
And Balak-Wisha's got his back to him. How can there be a free kick there? There's no free kick, nothing happened. The guy just threw himself in. Like he was ballet dancing, not a big ballet dancer. Or an ice skater that broke his wee ice skate. He just throws himself in. Free kick. Balak-Wisha's right through in the keeper. Now that could have been, I'm not saying Celtic would have scored for that. The form we're on, I wouldn't have put money on it. But we'll never know because we never got to find out. With another diving cheat. Just throws himself to the ground. Doesn't know what's around him and just throws himself down and gets a free kick for it. Now, we can't have this guy refereeing another derby game, Xander. I'll be absolutely enraged if it happens again because that was the worst I've ever seen apart from the one I just mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that's it, John. Absolutely dreadful refereeing. And there was one Dyson through as well, through the keeper and he pulls it back for a free kick also. And then there was the one Shin was through the two defenders, John. Don't you remember that one near the end of the game? He done well when he came on actually, by the way. Shin Yamada, bit of strength, bit of pace. But there's one, he's barges himself through. Both Rangers defenders, they drag him to the ground. He gives a free kick to Rangers. And I know I'm laughing, John, right? Because advantage should be going to the attacking player here. He's got strength, he's got power, he's got pace, gets through the two defenders. If the referee lets it go, he's through and goal again. But no, he blows up for a free kick, John. Do you remember that one?
I remember all them. I don't remember. I wouldn't have remembered it if you never brought it up right enough. But now you mention it, it comes back to me. But there's never a free kick there. It's as simple as that. I can just agree with you because everything you're saying, I'm going to agree with you. There is times on this podcast, as well as everybody else, I disagree with you quite a lot. But everything you've said so far, 100% agreement, and that's not just because I'm a Celtic fan. It's because I'm giving an honest opinion. the referee should never be put in charge of a derby game again. He shouldn't be put in charge of a schoolboys game, let alone a big Glasgow derby.
Yeah, that's it. It was very, very poor. But no, John, it's at the end of the day, we didn't get beat. You know, that was the big bonus in this one. We still stayed 6 points clear of them, still top of the league ahead of Hearts, who drew at the weekend as well. So we stay top of the league also, John. So that is your major bonus. So your referees and your VAR, you know, didn't do us any favours. We didn't win the game, but we didn't lose the game either, John. And that's all we can ask for at this stage in the season. You know, our unbeaten record has got our winning record, should I say, 3 wins in a row. We're looking for 4. That's gone. But John, it's another game where we've not conceded a goal. So the defence is doing well at the moment.
Well, considering everything that happened at the weekend, I'll take the drawn wins under all day, because Rangers might have been playing with 10 men against Bruges, but they were playing with 13 or 14 against Celtic.
Absolutely, John. That referee, I mean, we don't have to go on any more about it. We've said our piece on it. Don Roberts, we even said it on the preview as well, didn't we? That this was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened, John. But we move on, John. We do move on. We've got to move on. We'll get our wee 1 to 10 individual player ratings in a wee minute. But John, before we do that, we'll move on to the next game, right? Which is I think it's Kilmarnock away. I think we've got another couple of away games coming up. We've got a cup game coming up. We've got an away game to Kilmarnock as well, John. Well, Rangers got another 2 games at home. Another one I don't understand. 3 games at home in a row, where Celtic are away from home 3 games in a row. But John, as I say, we've just got to move on to the next game and look for the 3 points.
So you can do. You can't argue who you're playing against next. But just we need to hope that these new boys have got a lot to offer, because the current mob that's playing right now are offering absolutely nothing. And Callum McGregor came out and said it himself. The team needs fresh talent put into it. And we've got another couple of fresh faces in. Ballot Wisha, I'd like to get another good look at him. Never got to see much of him apart from the Tavernier incident. That was about it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, he looks quite strong, physical and pacey. He looks okay, but he's got absolutely nobody to try and find, you know, up front, John. Nobody at all. I think, I think Dyson was posted missing again, you know, so he's not started the season very well at all, has he? But no, John, you got to look at Celtic's last 4 games. That's 3 games out of the last 4 we've not scored a goal. I know we've not conceded either, but nothing each against Kairat Almaty twice, John. Nothing each twice. And then nothing each against the Rangers, John. We just need to start finding the net very, very quickly.
We need a striker very quickly. Hopefully we'll find one. But like I said to you before, even if we did have a half decent striker there, they ain't getting any service, are they? It's as simple as that. The white men are not providing much service to them.
Definitely not, John. I think the midfield is sort of a non-existent at the moment as well. I think, yeah, we started with Nygren on the wing, didn't we? And Engels in the middle with Rio and Callum, John. I think the midfield was non-existent. And that brings us on nicely, actually, to the 1 out of 10 individual scorings, John. On you go, buddy.
Right, throw it on to me. Big Casper, clean sheet, give him a 7.
Yeah.
I always give a 7 for a clean sheet, that's alright. Unless he had 100 great saves to pull off, which he never really did. I think he had a couple of saves to make though, didn't he? Maybe.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, catching corners and stuff, yeah.
Corners and that, coming out for stuff like that. And I thought Casper was alright. Give him a 7. Clean sheet, that'll do.
Yeah.
Carter Vickers 6. He was okay. Big Carter Vickers, I think he had a wee slip up one moment in the game.
Yeah.
He was okay though, wasn't he? Liam Scales 9. Man of the match. No questions. Anybody that disagrees, go and support somebody else. Scales, a total titan yet again in the centre half position. Absolutely amazing. Kieran Tierney, 3, rubbish. Sorry, Kieran, if you're listening, but you need to do better than that, son. You know better than most has been a Celtic man. Poor performance from Kieran anyway. Great player that he is. Poor on Sunday. He's been poor all season, to be honest, but 3 for him.
Yeah.
Other side, Ralston was targeted a wee bit. Tried his best, give him a 4. Centre of the park, Cal McGregor. He doesn't get away with scot-free. 3 for Cal McGregor. Bad performance. Arnie Engels, 2. Terrible. Hatate, slightly better. 4.5. 5 for him, but 5. Give him a 5. It could be frustrating at times as well, right enough.
Yeah.
Nygren out on the right hand side, he was poor. Give him a 4. Thought he was better when he went into the centre of the park. Give him a 4 anyway.
Yeah.
Dies in Maeda. What can I say? Chased back a few times, won the ball back, Xander. Give him a 5.
Yeah, he done well in defence actually, didn't he? With in up front. I think without him,
great there.
Yeah, he did well there. Yeah.
He's got to remember he's a forward player, though, Xander, and having to track back like that, I think it takes away from his game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I was all right, Dyson. I remember giving him a 6 actually because of the tracking back, because he's a really, really top player, and that's why I keep saying to you, Xander, I'd love to see him as a fullback because nobody's getting by him. And I mean, nobody in world football is getting by him as a fullback because he can tackle, he can win the ball, and he can jump up and win headers. I think he'd be an excellent fullback, Tyson Maeda. Yeah. But there you go. I'll give Dyson a 6. And your other man, Balak Wisher, posted missing really. He was through the keeper. If it wasn't for cheating referees, then you never know what could have happened out of that. Give the new boy a 4.
Yeah, it's low scores, John, because the performance was very lacklustre again.
But you're going to take into account as well, Xander, I suppose. We didn't get beat, but it's just the overall performance of every single player. It's no good enough to compete against an absolutely garbage Rangers team. Should be doing better than that. On you go, Xander.
Yeah, I'll just quickly run through mine. Casper gets a 7, yeah. Ralston I thought was okay, John. He gets a 6 from me and a clean sheet, so he gets a 6 from me. I thought he done better in the second half. I thought both centre halves played brilliant. I thought Big Cameron gets a 7, Scales gets a 9. He was my man in the match as well. Outstanding performance for the big man, by the way. Anyway, moving on. Kieran Tierney gets a 4. Callum gets a 4. Rio Hatate gets a 4. Arnie Engels gets a 4. Nygren gets a 5. He was trying, but in vain, to be honest with you. Dyson gets a 6, and Balak Wisher gets a 5. So that's my scores, John. Very similar to yours, I know, but you've just got to be honest in these circumstances where we didn't turn up again, John. Basically, that's what happened. We did not turn up at Ibrox, but as you also say, we didn't get beat. We didn't concede a goal. And another year and another time, John, that would have been a brilliant result for us. But it keeps that big gap between Celtic and Rangers, I suppose, and that's all we can ask. It's not quite the 9 points, but we'll take the 6-point lead as it stands.
Aye, definitely, aye. Look, I'm happy with the draw. I'm just not happy with the performance. But you've got to remember that's a Rangers team that was on their knees, Xander, and you've also got to take into consideration the help that we're getting after the referee. I don't care if any Rangers fans are listening, thinking, listen to them, think they're just look at the performance. I know you can't as somebody that doesn't support either team, but anybody that's a neutral watching that must be looking at that referee and going, get this guy off, man. He's getting them far too much for absolutely nothing. But if you're a neutral and you don't think that, then I don't know what you're saying. But you've got to take a lot of things into account with that. And another thing, I think, centre of the park, losing the battle in there, McGregor, Hatate and Engels, who I don't think should be pulling on a Celtic jersey again, to be honest with you. He's quality, get over it, as somebody says once. But the guy's pathetic, Xander. I'll just come out and say it. He's absolutely pathetic. Yeah,
no show at Ibrox for Arnie Engels, and it's been a no show for a wee while from Arna. Yeah, but we did say at the start of the season we're hoping for a much better season out of Engels, but so far, John, it's no happened, is it? All right, John, that wraps up the Glasgow Derby. We've had a wee say on it, when we're not happy, the fans aren't happy, the manager wasn't happy, the players weren't happy with, the performance that they put in as well, John. You heard big Liam Scales after the game in his interview, wasn't happy at all, was he? Even though he was man of the match. And by the way, they gave the man of the match to a Rangers player, didn't they? Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely not one shot at goal, but yet they give the man of the match to a Rangers player.
Well, I think should have gave it to the referee for his assists.
Yeah, and all kidding aside, John, his performance, it was like an assist, wasn't it? It's like 15 assists, free kicks to pump that ball right into the box. It was a dreadful performance by the referee. And the lack of free kicks that Celtic, weren't getting, free kicks, blatant drags to the ground, play on, 50-50s, give the free kick to Rangers. It was dreadful, absolutely dreadful for Don Robertson, sorry. Right, John, let's get into this. These fixtures have been released for the Europa League. We now know where we're playing, when we're playing, who we're playing, and what month we're playing. So let's quickly run through it, John. Europa League fixtures for Celtic. First of all, we're away to Red Star Belgrade on the 24th of September. Then we're at home to Braga on the 2nd of October. At home to Sturm Graz, so 2 home games in a row, on the 23rd of October. Away to Midtjylland on the 6th of November. Away to Feyenoord on the 27th of November. At home to Roma on the 11th of December. Away to Bologna on the 22nd of January next year. And we finish up with a home tie against Utrecht on the 29th of January. What do you think, John? Do you think the squad is strong enough, good enough to get us through the league stage of the Europa League?
Well, we need to see what these new boys are bringing, I suppose. See if they can add a wee bit more spice in attack. But for the way, if they play anything like they did against, what do you call them? Kairat, they've no chance. They've no chance to get through. That's some good teams in that group, Xander. Celtic, if they get their act together in time, we just hope they pull together as a team and they start gelling. But we need to get Engels at the centre of the park, Xander. You've got to start with Niger in every game in the centre of that park. I don't really mind who plays it on the right hand side, as long as I've had enough of Engels, Xander. I've had an absolute enough of him. He's contributing nothing to the team. We're playing with 10 men every time he's on that park.
Yeah.
Sorry, any Celtic fans that like him. I know he's quality, get over it and all that stuff, but I'm no buying that. Sorry, whoever it was that says that. Well, I know who says it. Sorry, but he ain't quality. Get over it. We need to get him out the centre of that park, Xander. He's contributing nothing to the team. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me. Yeah, we know he's got wee bits of quality, can take a good free kick, a good corner kick. What else has he got? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's very poor, isn't it, John? He's, you had your man, Matt O'Reilly, as well, available to get on loan. I think was it Marseille he went to? What a signing that would have been to get him back on loan, John, Matt O'Reilly, but we've got to let that one go, I suppose.
Well, who are we going to play in the centre of the park in place of Engels, Xander? I'm sure you agree with me. He's not doing it, is he? He's just not doing it at all.
No, it's nothing. We're getting nothing from Arne Engels, John. It's that big fee we paid for him as well. All that money, and I think that's maybe a main part of the big problem we have just now with the board, the manager, and now the fans, John, getting involved as well, sending letters to the board, wanting explanations, etc. I think the fee for Arne Engels is a big part to play in this. We don't seem to be or looking to be picking on this boy, not at all. We want him to do well, we want him to perform well, but the first 4 games I think to go by, John, and I know a couple of the games he was a sub, But he's not done it, John. He's not doing it. He's not done it. He said 4 games to improve his performances. It's not happened. Nigan's came in. When you put him in the middle of the park, as you say, it's night and day, isn't it, John? So yeah, I think we've got to stick with Nigan.
Couldn't agree more, Xander. I think Engels, the race has been run. I think that's it for me. With him, I've had enough looking at him, walking about with his face, tripping him, kicking the ball at the park and all that stuff. So I don't know how many times he's done that. Went across it and just kicked it straight out the park, all that kind of stuff. No getting involved enough. Look, you never know. He might play one game and it might turn these fortunes around, and he might become the player that we paid 11 million for. I can't see it myself, but right now all I'm seeing is we're playing a man down when he's in the centre of that park, Xander.
Yeah, it seemed that way, didn't it, on Sunday? It was very, very hard to watch. We're just choking for that full-time whistle. Even though they didn't have any shots in goal, it just wasn't Celtic we were watching, was it? It was
definitely no.
No, it was that.
I know. We're not talking about. I mean, we'll get away from Army. We don't want. We just hope the boy just gets his act together one day and it just clicks for him, and that's it. We're starting to see an £11 million player, but only these European ties, Xander. We need to get our act together for Europe. We've got to hope the forward line starts clicking as a unit, and the midfield starts getting it together, because the midfield's getting overrun. I think against Kairat Almaty and against Rangers, they were overrun. And that was with Nygren playing in there as well with Kairat Almaty. But something's got to change in the centre of the park. I don't know if Callum's maybe starting to show his age a wee bit. Maybe his legs are starting to go a wee bit. I'm not really sure. Still a great player. I'm not saying anything bad about Calmac. Far from it. But you think it maybe needs freshened up a wee bit in the centre of the park? Maybe give Callum a wee rest every now and again.
Yeah, but it's who you put in there, John. And that was our big concern, trying to get somebody in to cover for Callum McGregor, John.
Bernardo.
You've got Bernardo, you've got Luke McCowan, you've got Arnie Engels. I don't think Rio's going to play in there, is he? But there is options there, John. There really is options there. But Callum's, he played well against Aberdeen. He's played well in the other league games as well, where we've got the full points at Ibrox. He was sort of a marked out of the game, I thought, John. I think he was man for man marked, wasn't he, out the game, I suppose, Callum. So he didn't really have any space in the centre of the park. But Brendan, as the manager, he's the one that should have changed the tactics, I suppose. But he didn't change the tactics, did he? He kept the same tactics all the way through the game. First half, second half, final whistle, John. Same tactics, never changed it. No plan B.
No, it was just a case of just bore the fans rigid by going left, right, backwards. As soon as they get into the Rangers half, it was stole off them and they get a free kick. That was the way the whole game went. I know we're supposed to be talking about Europe, but these games haven't happened in Europe yet. It's hard to talk about them when they've not happened yet. I know there's a lot of tasty ties there, but with Sunday still fresh in the mind, it's hard to get away from it, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially what happened in the transfer window, John, that's also fresh in the mind. Having to sign free agent players. I think Patrick Bamford was another one that we were linked with, but that's sort of faded into the sunset as well, John. So also Iniacho is our centre forward. Hopefully he can click, as you say, be on form. He's got to be on form. We can't afford to have another Adam Eder on our books. We need him on form. And Sebastian, John, he'll come in on the right hand side with Dyson on the left, and they can chop and change as well by sometimes playing Dyson through the middle with Balakwisha on the left, John. So there is options there now for the manager.
There's a few options out wide, but it's the centre of the park and the right back position. That's two positions we've been talking about. Get them strengthened now because we need that strengthened, and it's not been done.
No, and it's not going to be done, John, because by the time January comes, Alistair will be back playing, hopefully, and the board will say, well, we don't need another right back. So, we needed a right back in the window there in the summer, the one that closed on Monday night. We didn't sign one, John. Is the board are happy for Celtic to go with Anthony Ralston? And by the way, I thought he was okay against Rangers. He wasn't taking any nonsense off him, that's for sure, Anthony, and he never does, throwing the players about, He's takes no nonsense, Anthony. But we need a player the quality of Alistair over there, John. Nothing against Tony Ralston. He is a decent player, but we're now stuck, if you like, with Anthony Ralston right up until the end of December.
Well, that's the way it's going to have to be. But look, Anthony's a Scottish international. You've got to remember that as well. Well, that doesn't go for much, does it? Scotland are absolutely guffing they? But
yeah, we're in the middle of this. Well, they're just at the start of this international break, John. It's a couple of weeks to get things together, get things sorted, and we'll see what team emerges from the international break, because we do have a lot of players away on international duty as well. So we're hoping for very little injuries, or zero injuries, if you like. Sinisalo's away, Speichel's away, Ralston's away, Scales away, Hatate's away, Nygren, Engels, Maeda, Vickers, blah blah blah. Practically the whole team, John. They're all away on international duty. So it's same old. Just come back with zero injuries, John. We want all these players coming back injury free.
Well, this is it, isn't it? Lucky, but I mean, quite lucky with international games, aren't we? With players coming back without injury. Long may that continue, but we'll wait and see. Alistair Johnston's a sore one, isn't it? Thinking about it, losing him. We just get on with it and hope Anthony does his best in there. And, you know, while Anthony's played, there's been no goals scored against him, so he's doing something right.
Yeah. As I say, John, the defence is actually doing okay. It's 4 games in the league, 4 clean sheets. You can't argue with that. And even against Kairat Almaty, in fact, if we conceded a goal this season, I don't think we've conceded a goal, John, this season.
Falkirk.
It's quite impressive, actually.
Falkirk, was it no 4-1 against Falkirk?
Was it Falkirk we played in the Cup, John? Was it?
Aye, Falkirk was 4-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've maybe conceded a goal in the Cup. But in the league and in Europe, John, I know we got knocked out of Europe, so it doesn't really go for anything. But it was 2 clean sheets. I think the defence is okay with big Scales and Vickers in there. Obviously, it was more solid with Alistair at the right back, John, and Tierney on the left. But it's not about keeping clean sheets, John. It isn't about that. It's about winning games, scoring goals and winning games. And that's where Brendan earns his money, John. So he's got to get the team firing again and scoring goals on a regular basis. And that's what every Celtic supporter is looking for.
Aye, that's it. Clean sheets and scoring goals. That's an ideal world. That's not always going to be the case. But, you know, we're keeping clean sheets. You look at that league table. 0 goals conceded. Sitting at the top of the league. Defence is definitely doing its job, Xander. Although I thought Kieran's been poor against Rangers and in Europe so far.
Yeah. He will get better, John, with fitness. He's coming off.
Of course he will.
60 minutes a game, John. There's something wrong there, isn't there? Every single game's coming off in the 60th minute, 60 odd minutes. So, he'll get stronger and better as the season goes on. I'm sure of it. Right, John, let's get into the predictor. There is one for this week. I know we're in the middle of an international break. And I think there's only 3 or 4 games in the predictor for this week, but it's a predictor nevertheless. As I said earlier, you got one right again. Falkirk against, who was it they were playing, John? Was it Aberdeen?
Can't mind, Xander.
Yeah, I think you got it right. 1-0, I think, Falkirk. In fact, I'll quickly run through the results over the weekend, actually, for anybody that wants to know. Dundee 0, Dundee United 2, so Dundee Derby win for Dundee United there. Who was Aberdeen it was, John. Aberdeen 0, Falkirk 1. You got that right. Aberdeen down to 10 men in that one. Hibs 1, St Mirren 1. That was a draw, obviously. Not a great result for Hibs there, actually. After getting knocked out of Europe. Livingston 1, Hearts 2, so a win for Hearts. I think I said the one each in that one, John, and Hearts scored in the 4th minute of injury time, so a win for Hearts anyway. Anyway, let's move on. Motherwell 2, Kilmarnock 2, Brownie Watch, Ayr 1, Queen's Park 1, and Lenny Watch was Dunfermline 2, Ross County 2, so a good draw for Lenny there, John. Right, let's get into the predictor then before we go. As I say, only 3 games or something in the predictor. We'll start with Scotland, John. Denmark against Scotland in Denmark on Friday at 7:45. What's your prediction, buddy?
Oh, I've not seen Scotland for a wee while. I just go for it for a laugh. 3-0 Denmark.
Okay. It's very tough. I don't really know much about Scotland either, John, but I'll say 2-1 to Denmark. Alloa against Celtic B in the Challenge Cup, John. Celtic B's picked it up a wee bit. They're doing okay. They're in the cup again, in the next round of the cup. What do you think, buddy? Alloa against Celtic B in Alloa.
I'm going to go for an Alloa win in this one, actually. I'm going to say Alloa to win it 3-2.
2-1 to Celtic for me, John. And that, but they're doing okay, especially in that Challenge Cup. They're doing really well. And the competition for everybody this week, your correct score guess into the comments is Celtic against Rangers on Sunday. The ladies, Celtic ladies against Rangers ladies, 3 o'clock kick-off on Sunday. What's your prediction, John?
Oh, it's a tough one because I've not watched one of them. Well, I've watched the last one, actually. So the Rangers ladies always look stronger, physically stronger, I mean.
Yeah.
I'll go for 1-0 for Celtic.
1-0. I'll say 2-0 to the champions, John. No, they're not the champions, are they? I think it's Glasgow City, they're the champions. That's wrong,
No.
yeah.
So no Hibs is the champions.
Is it Hibs, Glasgow City? I can't remember. I know Hibs and Glasgow City are in the Champions League, so it's one of the two of them. So anyway,
I think it's Hibs are the champions, Sander.
There they are. Right, okay. I'll say 2-0 anyway, John, to Celtic versus the Rangers ladies on Sunday, 3 o'clock kick-off. Anybody wants to have a wee look for that on the telly. And the last one, John, is Scotland again, into it, obviously. Belarus versus Scotland. Another away game for the Scots. What are you thinking, John?
Belarus. Oh. I'll go 3-1 Scotland. No, 3-0 Scotland. They'll make a comeback after getting beat 3-0 by Denmark.
Yeah, 3-1. You say that's a convincing one, isn't it? Let me have a wee think. Belarus, don't know too much about them, obviously. So I'll say 2-0 to Scotland on Monday. That is, John, Monday night. As I say, good luck to Scotland anyway in the international break, John. That about wraps it up for the night. That's your predictor. Just the 4 games for us, John, to predict. I'm trying to think if there's any other one we could maybe add to predict. I know Scotland are playing Portugal in the under-21s, if you want to add that, John. Under-21 qualifiers, for Championships qualifiers. So yeah, let's add that to make it up to 5, John. Scotland versus Portugal on, I think it's Tuesday night in the qualifiers. What do you think, buddy?
Don't know anything about their teams. You trying anything here to clock back, Xander? Adding anything again?
Yeah, I could easily be even further behind, John, so it works both ways. But no, we'll add as many as we can onto this because there's no Celtic and Scottish Premier League games to predict on, so we'll just try to find games to make up the numbers, if you like.
I'll just go for a 2-1 Portugal for Portugal. Sorry, 2-1 for Portugal.
Yeah, 3-0 for me for Portugal. They're a decent team, Portugal, at every level. All right, John, that's it. That wraps it up for the night. A wee hour there. That was we got a lot off our chest there. But we're Celtic, we're champions, we're top. That's the bottom line. I know there's a lot of unrest with fans sending letters to the board. I know there's a lot of unrest between the manager and the board. Brendan not getting the players in that he wanted. Dolberg would have been a outstanding forward, but if Killian Iniacho can get his act together, John, and be the player that he was just a couple of years ago, you got to remember, firing goals in for Man City, firing goals in for Leicester City. We've got a decent player on our hands, John. But you've got to remember as well, the guy's only 28-year-old. He's signed for a year. He's got an option of another year after that as well, John. So we can only wish Iniacho, Sebastian as well, John, Balikwisha, and all the other new players that have come in the door. We can only wish them all the best of luck for the season going forward.
Well, that's all we can do. We just hope they can find a place in the team and gel. You know, that's what we want for this team to gel. And look, I know we give Arnie Engels a hard time. We want him to do well. I know, Xander. We want him to just to click with him, and suddenly goes, I get it. He's got good traits about him. He's got some good traits about him. Good with a dead ball and that. But you want it to click for him, that he knows what it means to play for Celtic, and it starts to click with his teammates. And we hope it works out for Arnie as well. We want every Celtic player to do well, and especially ones we pay 11 million quid for it.
Yeah, that's it, John. It's. I mean, I actually don't understand the. Well, I do understand it, but I don't. You know, you got to remember. You know, people are in the comments saying things like Brendan's not an elite manager. He's a dreadful manager. He's this, he's that, and the next thing. Not all Celtic supporters are saying that, but there is a lot not happy with Brendan Rodgers, John. But what I would say to the guys and girls that are not happy with the managers, think back to Tony Mowbray, think back to Lou McCarry, you know, think back to, you know, managers.
The dream team.
Aye, John Barnes, think back to managers like that, you know, managers. Brendan is a successful Celtic manager. He's won trophies in every single season he's been here. He's 6 points clear of Rangers just now. You know, you've got to give the players a chance to gel and bed in as well, the new players. I think it'll all come good. Even though we are top of the league, it will get better as well. I know we're not out. I know that we're out of the Champions League, but it also gives us a chance to get a good, decent run, a proper run in the Europa League as well.
Do you think many Celtic fans are in the mood for the Europa League, considering everything that's happened? You know, getting put out by Kairat Almaty and that derby draw against an absolute guff Rangers team. I think the Europa League's a bit of a come down, to be honest with you, Xander. I don't think many Celtic fans are. I mean, as soon as the games kick off, we're all going to be right up for it. We're going to be in the mood for it. But right now, at this moment, the way Celtic fans are thinking is the board have let us down. They've not gave us the players we wanted. They've not gave Brendan the money to spend on the players they wanted. Right now, that's the theme of the day. Celtic fans unhappy with the board. We haven't got the players in that we wanted. But you've got to get behind the players that we have got there. And it's all right me saying that, having a go at Arnie Engels all the time. But I still want the boy to do well. But right now, I think the last thing in Celtic fans' minds is Europe. But as soon as that time comes around, Xander, we'll all be right behind them.
Yeah, things will settle down, John. Things will settle down. Nobody is happy with the board. I think the board were putting out a wee sort of a statement, if you like, there. You know, the fans saying sack the board, and then there's no money spent in the. Well, no money. I mean, £5 million for Sebastian. It's a lot of money, John. £5 million for Balikwisha. It's also a lot of money. But you know, it's no the sort of levels that the supporters were looking for, is it? But we'll wait and see what happens with the squad we've got. We've got to use the squad we've got. You know, we can't change it now. That's it. The summer transfer window is now closed. We need to get to January with the squad we've got. Right, John, anything you want to add before we go?
No, really, no. We've spoke about everything that we wanted to get off our chest. I would say good luck to Scotland, but I don't really care, to be honest with you.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, as long as the players come back injury-free, that's all I'm concerned about. As players away in international duty picking up injuries, we certainly don't want that. The squad is stretched as it is, so we just hope that all the lads come back injury.
Well, the one thing I was reading there, Celtic's 24-man Europa League squad revealed as 4 summer signings miss out.
Right, I don't know how players could miss out. I know the deadline was 11 o'clock on Tuesday night for the squad to be announced. So the players were all in the door at that point, John. So I don't know. I've not actually read that. excuse me, I think Aniacho was signed in time. I think Sebastian was signed in time, and Balak-Wisha was definitely signed on time. So I'm not sure, John. I'd need to look into that. That's one you've just hit me with there. Who does it say who the 4 players are?
But it's news, Sander. It's just news just in, so that's why you've not heard it. You can't go check the news when you're talking on a podcast, unfortunately. Summer signings: Shin Yamada, Jamai Simpson Puzzi, Callum Osmond and Hayato Inamura miss out, although the likes of Mikel Angel Balak-Wisha, Sebastian Tunekte, is that how you say that? Tunekte? And Marcelo Saracchi all make the cut.
Yeah, well, basically he's not picked the players then, John, because they were well signed in time.
Aye, they were, weren't they? Aye, they were signed months ago. Aye.
Yeah, so basically Brendan's not picked them for the squad. I think that's what's happened there. Okay, a wee bit of late news there, John. Thanks for that. I'm glad you checked that. So who was the 4 again? Could you just mention them one more time, John?
It's Shin Yamada, Jamai Simpson Puzzi, Callum Osmond and Hayato Inamura. Now, I think Shin Yamada and Inamura, that's going to be a big loss. I like they two. I think they're 2 cracking players.
I don't understand why Shin Yamada wouldn't be picked for the Europa League squad. That's a strange one, to be honest with you, John. That's I don't get it. I just don't get that. He came on against Rangers and he done well. He put himself about a wee bit, didn't he? So very strange, John. That's a very strange decision.
It's very strange. This boy Puzzi, we haven't seen anything of him yet. But anyway, he says Brendan's basically picked his squad, and that's the 4 that miss out. Shin Yamada, Puzzi, Callum Osmond, Hayo Inamura, they all miss out, but the likes of Balak-Wisha, Sebastian Tunekte and Marcelo Saracchi all make the cut. So the ones he's re-signed recently, they're all included. So Brendan obviously sees something in them that we haven't seen yet. Well, we've not seen the players yet, but apart from what's his name? Balak-Wisha. But Brendan must see quality in them that he doesn't see in the ones he's left out. And unfortunately, we're going to miss out on the likes of Shin Yamada and Inamura, 2 cracking players, Ander.
Yeah, okay. All right, John. Thanks for that. Thanks for that wee update at the very end there. Our next game is away, as I said earlier, to Kilmarnock on the 14th of September. That's our next game, the 14th. And then we play, obviously, Partick Thistle in the Cup after that. So that's our next couple of games. But the main one that we'll be looking at probably the next time we'll be on the podcast, it will be the weekend. We'll look ahead to the Kilmarnock game on the 14th of September on that plastic pitch, John. Kilmarnock not doing too well just now. You know, draws, a couple of losses. I think they've had 1 win. I think they drew with Motherwell at the weekend there. But it's always tough going up to Kilmarnock, John. But we'll go into that in a wee bit more detail on the next podcast.
Okay, Sander. I'll speak to you later then.
All right, John. Thanks for that. And thanks for the update at the very end there. We'll catch you all very soon. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button as well. Leave your comments in the comment section. Hail for now. Catch you all later.